I'm talking today with Scott Pollack. Scott is co-founder of Firneo. Scott, thanks for joining me to talk about your course and our education hub.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Scott, it's great to talk with you. Tell me a little bit about your course that we have over in our education hub that we've partnered up on to offer people who are looking to learn more about partnerships. Tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get started in producing courses in business development and partnerships?
Sure. So I spent the past 20 years in partnerships and business development roles at startups and large companies, always feeling like what I would call a professional ugly duckling, right? I looked around me and I was surrounded by marketers or lawyers or accountants and traditional salespeople, and always felt like I was kind of alone on my career journey, kind of figuring things out for myself as I went along. And eventually I came to realize that I wasn't the only one who felt that way. I wasn't the only professional ugly duckling out there. And in the course of realizing that, started to find my people and teach what I had been learning over the years. 10 plus years ago, I started teaching a course that I called What Exactly is Business Development? And, really focused on the idea of what makes for good partnerships based on the things that I had been learning. But I realized over time that really resonated and led me down the path of writing, teaching, speaking, building community for other people who worked in partnerships roles. And that has culminated most recently in what we've built with Firneo, which is an 8-week certification program that we call the Certified Partnerships Professional Program. And in the course of that program, we teach the playbook for how to build really impactful partnerships. And that's what we're doing and really trying to provide like a comfort and insight so that not only can you do the job well, but you can feel like you have the confidence that is often really hard to come by because you're in a job that most people didn't go to school for. And now you can.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I really like that approach, how you have these cohorts where you can get together with another group of people to learn about partnerships. As people are going through this cohort, do they interact with one another?
Absolutely. So the way that the program works is a combination of asynchronous and synchronous experiences. So every week over the course of the 8 weeks, we drop content that really covers frameworks, tactics, templates that help you learn how to do this job and apply those skills immediately. And so that's content that's available for people to, review on their time. Then also every week, we have a bunch of ways to synchronously connect to peers. We have a weekly cohort meeting in which we do two things in particular. Number one is we go deep into what we call a partnership simulator, where we have a fictional company that we've built a case study around. And as the participants in the cohort, you become the partnerships team for this fictional company that we call Mindful. And each week we reveal a little bit more insight, and together as a team, as a cohort, you're working through challenges. You're figuring out how do you sell the CEO on this partnership opportunity. You're diagnosing problems that arise in the partnership. You're structuring and negotiating partnership deals all in real time. You're practicing the skills that you've learned. In addition to that, during those weekly cohort meetings, we also have opportunities to learn from experts. We have mentors who shared their stories, their real world experiences, and we break those stories down to put ourselves in their shoes and say, what would you do if you were facing this particular problem that this head of partnerships had? And it's an opportunity to build some pattern recognition and also really assess, let me see how I can apply what I've learned. And so those are two things that we really try to focus on, working with a group of peers to kind of embody what you're learning. In addition to that, there's opportunities to connect to others in the community with one-on-ones and, on online community. So it's a pretty robust experience that's meant to help you learn, but also learn alongside other people who are learning the same things as you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I really like that approach where you're practicing what you're learning, because so often when I've gone through courses like in college, you learn things on the blackboard or on the PowerPoint screen, but you don't always get a chance to practice it. So that ability to do that with your peers and with the experts that you have in the course is amazing. Tell me something about partnerships that people are surprised by when they've come from other roles that they learn while going through this course.
Yeah, I'd say, partnerships is a role that isn't rocket science. It's actually a lot harder. Partnerships, partnerships is a job that requires understanding how the human brain works. It requires understanding emotions and organizational psychology. It seems like a role that anybody could do, and it is certainly, but it's a role that you have to learn the right way to apply the varying skills that we learn in life, soft skills, and perhaps in school. Partnerships requires a deep understanding of frameworks and tactics to be effective in the job. And that is what is a cause of a lot of, of the challenges and feelings of imposter syndrome that so many people in partnerships have been feeling in their career, whether you're new or frankly, whether you've spent many years. That feeling is something that you're not alone in feeling. But the solution to that, and that we really try to focus on, is if you could learn how to apply those skills in the right order and understand how organizations think, how stakeholders are going to assess the value of a partnership opportunity. That will enable you to get buy-in and get resources, to understand how another organization, how a partner might be thinking about you as a partner. They'll allow you to structure partnership deals that can be truly game-changing and ultimately bring those deals to life, manage them, scale them, build entire ecosystems that are modeled in the same way. And that requires kind of taking that step back and really having a clear understanding of what are those steps in the process, what are those frameworks to follow. Because while it's not rocket science, it's something that we all can learn. We just have to learn how to apply those skills the right way.
Awesome. You mentioned that you're taking a ton of this knowledge and partnerships that you've gained over the years, and you're sort of compressing it down. How did you manage to compress 10 years worth of education about business development partnerships into just 8 weeks?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a combination of things that we've talked about, which is, number one, is having a clear framework that to follow and having the clarity to be able to say, I know the situation that I'm facing right now. I know how it fits into the broader picture of what I should be doing, what the right approach would be. And so having that clarity that comes from having clear frameworks and tactics and so forth is a huge part of being able to short circuit and shortcut the path to learning. The other is the opportunity to practice, right? If you are, for example, an engineer, you are working on coding, you have endless opportunities to practice. You can run the code, see if it works, catch bugs, do it again over and over again. It's an iterative role. But in partnerships, you don't always have that opportunity. You have a few chances in your career to create really impactful partnerships, and you don't want to screw it up. This course and what we really try to focus on is creating opportunities to practice your skills and give you those reps that are built into many other roles, but are very hard to come by in partnerships. And I think that's the combination of those things creates for a really important and impactful opportunity to come away feeling like you not only learn something, but you've embodied that knowledge. You are confident in that knowledge, and you have a peer group that you can continue to get support from and give support to over the rest of your career. Yeah.
Well, Scott, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and talk with us about your course over at Firneo. Is there anything that we didn't touch on today that you'd like to leave people who are listening to this and thinking about maybe taking your course?
Yeah, I think, the key thing that I think needs to be heard by everybody in partnerships, especially if you're earlier in your career, is that you're not alone. Because you often can feel that way. You can often feel like I did as a professional ugly duckling. You can feel like you're the only one going through a particular challenge, and therefore you're figuring it out for yourself. But that's not true. That's good news that that's not true. There are other people who've been in your shoes that you can learn from. There are frameworks that you can apply, tactics that you can develop, the skills, opportunities to practice all of that together. And that will help you not only feel more competent and confident in the role, but that you are not alone and that you are on a path that can be incredibly successful in a profession that is going to be, game-changing for business as we know it.
Thanks so much, Scott. Pleasure talking with you.
Thanks a lot for having me, Aaron. You too. Bye-bye.